everyone, I am Liz from French Toast and Books, and today is the 4th of July, Independence Day for my fellow Americans. I hope you really enjoyed this holiday, and for everybody else, love and enjoy your summer. Today I am going to be talking about my June wrap-up and also my July TBR. And so we're going to get started with my wrap-up, and the very first book I finished in the month of June was Furiously Happy, a funny book about horrible things by Jenny Lawson. This is her second book. Her first book was a memoir called Let's Pretend This Never Happened that I read in the previous month. And this one, it's full of her wit as she is an internet blogger. And she has some crazy stories to add on to the ones that she missed out on in her memoir. This one particularly focuses on her anxiety and her depression, and it creates this great atmosphere in how she discusses taboos and how people relate to her. And she has a really adorable note to readers at the beginning of this book that I loved so much. And I ended up giving this book a 4 out of 5 because it was a little bit slower to read than her memoir, but it was still really enjoyable. Then we get to TomeTopple. Now, the week that TomeTopple started, I actually was not really focusing on reading because I bought a house. And so I was cleaning and painting and moving in. So most of my time was devoted to things that took me away from reading. So I told myself I was going to read Les Miserables and The Game of Thrones for my tome reads. I also picked a graphic novel called The Punisher by the Marvel Universe, and I didn't really do that great with the challenges. I only read about 45 pages in Game of Thrones and 200 in Les Miserables. And then I did complete the graphic novel challenge. I did sit and read the entire Punisher graphic novel because I chose 3 from my library and I picked the one that I loved the artwork the most. And then I sat and I read it. The story was pretty easy to follow and the graphic art was amazing and beautiful. It was a little bit realistic, which is why I picked it. The other 2 were more cartoonish, and it made the violence a little bit more graphic. So I ended up giving that graphic novel a 3.5 stars out of 5. Now, because I didn't finish reading these 2 books during TomeTopple, I decided to carry it over to the TBR Takedown. I still didn't get very far in those books because I decided to focus on some of the smaller reads, which were The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, Invaded, the sequel to Alienated by Melissa Landers, and also Man Interrupted, Why Young Men Are Struggling and What We Can Do About It by Philip Zimbardo and Nikita Colomb. Now, out of these 5 books, I ended up finishing 2. I read The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and this is a book about reds and silvers. Reds are humans, and they are the workers and the servants in this country, this nation, and the silvers are supernatural. They have powers, and so they are the hierarchy, the king, queen, the officers, and Mare Barrow is a red who ends up having powers, and they don't really know why she has powers. And so this takes you on a roller coaster of a story where she has to pretend to be a silver and marry the second prince. And so there is this whirlwind of emotions, this crazy things of her trying to figure out why she has powers, and it is such a crazy read. I read this so fast, and I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars because a lot of the plot was really predictable for me, And some of the things that happened, I was just so heartbroken. I'm sure the glass sword will kind of help me with all those feels I experienced while reading this book, and so I'm really excited to pick up the sequel. And then we have Invaded, and this book carries on with Kara and Alex's story. Alex is an alien and Kara is a human, and through an alien exchange program, Alex goes down to Earth in the first book and lives with Kara. They end up falling in love. This book has Kara having to go to Alex's home planet Lear and experience life there. And Alex is stuck on Earth to fix issues that happened in the first book. Now, this one, I wasn't really fond of some of the resolutions to the plot points, and I felt like some things were really childish. However, just Kara's struggles on planet Lear made this book worth reading. It is hilarious having her deal with a PE class with aliens that are much more physically adept than herself. Now, this book I thought was going to be the end, but a new plot happens, and there's going to be a third book called United that releases, I think, in August. Now, I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars just because I had a little bit of issues with this book, but I still really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely gonna go on and see its possible conclusion in the third book. Now, with Man Interrupted, this book is a really intellectual read. I was surprised by all the research and surveys and everything that went into this. Also, there's a huge mixture of pop culture references. They have Futurama, Harry Potter, that shapes society and shapes our men into being who they are today, which means that a lot of men are not working, they're not going to college, and a lot of them aren't even willing to be in relationships. They don't want to be committed. They want to just have flings. And that is really a problem in society, and so this is what this book addresses. It also talks about how pornography and also online video gaming, especially addictions and obesity, they all tie together. I did not finish this book, but I read 200 pages of it, and I'm so close to finishing, and it's so fascinating. Another book I read on the side is Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger. Now, this book is so witty and cheesy and corny and funny. It's about a girl named Sophronia who basically is the brunt of the family. She is a tomboy and she wants to climb and invent and see how little things work. But that is not how a lady's supposed to behave in this historical English era of steampunk mechanics. She needs to be a lady, and so her mother ships her off to a finishing school. Lo and behold, this finishing school also trains their ladies to be an assassin or a spy. It makes a lot of really interesting witty banter. So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Now, all of these books that I did not finish in June, I will be picking up in July, and hopefully I will get those finished. I have also already picked up Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, and this is about a girl named Camille who's a reporter, and her boss sends her to her hometown and she has to go and report and see if there is a serial killer. However, this brings up a lot of issues Camille had as a child and why she took off from her previous residence. So I'm really excited to finish this book and also all of the other books on my list. Also, I would really like to get your guys' help on this. I want to be more active in Goodreads, and I also want to join some Goodreads groups. So if you could please give me some pointers and which Goodreads groups to join, please let me know in the comments below. And I really do hope you guys have a beautiful summer and happy holiday. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!